Hello, everyone. Grand Rising people. I pray that this message reaches everyone in good spirits, and thank you all for tuning in and watching my video. My name is Nicole, also going by Creative One on YouTube, and I am First Lady for Life on Instagram. I will be doing these videos quite often. These videos will be centered and topic around family. Family, I utilize an acronym that I found, and it stands F.A.M.I.L.Y. Stands for Father and Mother, I Love You. So each time I do the video, I will basically have a question that will be the focus of the video. So today's question is, how do you address physical and sexual abuse in your family? Well, I stand here today and I choose to talk about both because I have experience with both. Once again, I told, a few videos back that I wanted to use my story, my real life story, as a way to, give a message out to someone who just needs to know you're not alone. And both of those abuses in my life were they were detrimental. They were an emotional wound on me. They left scars, all of that. But I'm so much stronger now. This is why I'm able to actually share my story and tell it. I dealt with both abuses when I was very young. And I hid them both for a long time. The sexual abuse, it did come from family member. And it was shocking to me. I just didn't believe that such things would actually happen. And it hurt. And when you experience that, it's so many things that go through your mind. And one of the first things is that you feel like that you're wrong. You feel like that, you are the culprit or you are the bad person. This was done to you. You shouldn't have even had to go through a violation of such, especially with individuals that is your family that you should be trusting and feeling comfortable with. And ever since this Me Too movement has started, it's ironic how many people have came forward. But I feel like we need to be addressing these issues in the family to allow people to go that long and just harbor all that pain for so long. And you never know what it festers up to. A person could just be going through all kind of stuff, and who knows? It may have been some scenarios where they were fatal because people just could not take it and they took their lives. Because someone violated them and felt like that it was okay to touch them inappropriately and make them feel like, man, I am some victim or slave to you, and I'm supposed to do as you ask. No. And it's even more sad that it is children that get done like this. That is sick. That is demonic. That is satanic. I seen a meme one time where they had a whole bunch of Mandingo warriors and they was running, and the caption was, "This how we should come when somebody sexually abused somebody in our family." You darn right. Yeah. It's like putting that one person in the ring and letting everybody in all the corners just, go at them. Because if you feel that it's okay to do something like that, and it just don't be the men. Females have been found guilty and been known to participate in this behavior as well. Why? It's many adults. You just got to be one sick individual. If you got to go to children, or you got to feel like you got to take or put your hands on somebody inappropriately and sexually because you need to satisfy an itch. That's disgusting. And that's how I felt. I had so much hatred and evil in my heart. I don't even want to actually discuss the things that I thought about doing to the individual. And I'm so glad that I have a better heart and never acted out in such a way. And I always prayed that I would not have to do it because it was done to my children. Because it wouldn't be no question. I'd just have to be sitting in jail for the rest of my life. You had to go. And I don't want to feel that way. But why should you violate something that I brought? So I felt like I had took enough pain to where is it that, man, I didn't have to go to the extreme to do nothing like that. It hurt. It's very painful. And especially when you love and you trust that individual. But then when things like that happen, that creates such a ill feeling, negative thoughts where you be like, oh. That's why it's important to tell people. Because there's always someone else that can be able to deal with that situation better than you can. And maybe it's intended for you. You need to get away from that situation. You need to get out of that environment. Because guess what? That's not comfortable and safe for you anymore. That's why you have to address it. You have to tell someone. Do not be afraid. Do not feel ashamed. Do not feel that you are wrong. Open your mouth and tell someone. Because it's wrong in what they're doing. And trust and believe they know it's wrong in what they're doing. You might have even got a little, conversation like, man, don't tell nobody I'm going to do this and that. Tell. Don't carry that pain if you're younger into your adulthood. If you're in your adulthood now and you actually experienced that in your childhood, talk. Address it. Talk about it. If the individual that did that to you, it has to be confronted. Get your support system. If your parents are still living, talk to your parents. You got siblings, talk to your siblings. It has to be addressed because you know what? You never know who else was affected. Embarrass should never be in your thought of mind. That individual should be beyond embarrassed. He should be ashamed. I don't know how everyone that is affected on this level when it comes to sexual molestation or sexual abuse, it affects people differently. I do know from experiences that it affected me so emotionally. When I finally did get the courage to tell, I was old enough. I was a grown person. And when I shared it with my family, one thing that I love, my mother never ever doubted me. That just made me feel, man. I also did get a little scared because when you talking about you let them dang on that rattle and that cattle out, I just did not want my mama to go to jail. I didn't want my mama to go to jail. When I say she snapped, crackled, and popped, she did. She brought it to the front line, baby. She let it be known, oh, this ain't acceptable, and I'll be damned if I'm going to be quiet on that. She said, I don't care who don't like it. That's my child. And when I say I love that she did that, it made me think like I should have been said something. And I should have, but I didn't. But it made me feel even better because my mama had my back. Hell, when I told my father, I was scared because he felt like many people had judged him. And he felt like of all things, that's one thing that he would never have to worry about. And when I mean he went off. And he didn't trust anybody. But I just loved that and I was an adult. But I had my parents by my side. They didn't doubt it. The individual never admitted it. Never denied it neither. But at this point, he knew that it was out there. Now, some believed, some didn't. It didn't matter. But I will say this. Later on down the line, there was another individual that was affected after I shared my story. And even after I shared my story, and it was addressed, it was brought to the front line, I got past my hurt and my pain and all of that. Found out that, guess what? Someone else became a victim. And it took for individuals to see that victim go through what they went through, whereas that I actually had individuals in the family come to me and say, man, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. See, the ironic part is that I know I'm rare because I still love this individual as a family, but it had to be confronted and addressed. I had to be able to set the example to let it be known, so that if I had to deal with that, or my children had to deal with that, man, they could be able to see, well, mama, she came forth, she dealt with it, she was honest, she brought it to the front line and she addressed it. We just don't talk about certain things. Do not allow yourself to give the individual that brought this pain and this abuse and this disrespect to you, don't give them any thought as far as what would happen to them. They don't deserve that. They don't get to be thought about of what could be their consequences. It's about you. You think about how you were violated, how you were disrespected, how they took your feelings and threw them out the window, and all that they focused on was their desires, their ill intentions, their malicious thoughts and ways. Don't you give them no thought. They knew what they was doing, and you didn't ask and you didn't deserve. That's not a question that somebody can actually get away or have the audacity to think that they can tell me that is going to be a reasonable excuse. You know what? Find you a door or some business, because it's not in front of me or in mine. I ain't trying to hear it. That's BS. That is. And I'm not going to let nobody get away with that. And you ain't going to think that you can be able to tell me that, and I'm going to let that ride, and you're going to think you're going to say, oh, okay. Hey, bye. You better hope you don't get no mouth shot. And it happens. That's why it's important. I did this video just for this. Yes, hashtag me too. Me too. I'm not ashamed to say it. I used to be. And we're not able to be silent no more. We could tell other people business, but we won't sit here and handle our own business and deal with what's going on with us. We got to do better than that, people. We got to set this example. Have these conversations. Make sure that this door is open so that, man, youngsters, younger generations knowing, like, man, I'm telling. I'm finna say something. I'm finna open my mouth. I ain't going. That's what we want. Because if we don't have it, we have a lot of people who harbor all of this pain, all of this disrespect, all that they went through by themselves, and then they grow older, and they are people walking around who are hurt with pain. And what do hurt people do? They hurt people. I understand. I have been there. I speak from what I know. This is not just based on a book I read or a video I watched. When I say I had hands-on experience, I had hands-on experience. And trust and believe, I talk to my children the same way. Me and my children have the same conversation, and I insist on them having the same conversations with their children, because it's important. Because there's a lot of people that just don't speak up and don't say nothing. Now, shout out to all of the hashtag Me Too movement, women, females, girls that have experienced that. My heart goes out to you. I understand what you go through. I support you in all of your healing. And I ask that we continue to share, that it is imperative that we open these conversations and talk about this issue, because this is a very nasty epidemic that continuously seems to plague our world. And it really is in our families, and that's just, it has to stop. And it's been going on for so many generations, to where it's that, man, we don't want it to keep trickling down to generation after generation. Hashtag me too. The next abuse is physical abuse. And I was in a physical abusive relationship for like 5 years. And I have literally scars to actually show what I went through. When you have to fight and have physical abuse in a relationship, that's not love, you guys. That's not in love. I've seen scenarios where it's that the fights are so bad to where that's not even fights. Somebody is getting beat on a regular. There have been fatalities because fighting and physical abuse have gotten outrageous. I seen this movie, and this is way before I even got in a physical abusive relationship. It was one of my favorite movies, and it clung to me because my heart went out to her, and it was The Burning Bed. You would have never paid me to believe that I would have been in that situation or in that relationship, but guess what? I was. I do get emotional because I'm going to always think about those times. And just to think, and I am speaking right now in the form to where it's that the male is physically abusive to the female. Now, don't get me wrong. Yes, females actually physically abuse males as well. I'm just, in this token, I'm speaking that the physical abuse was done to me. And whichever way it comes from, it's wrong. But in, reference to me, it happened to me. So I didn't think, at the time when I began watching the movie that I would go through this. And there were so many things I said I wouldn't do. I wouldn't go through, all that. And I did. I've heard people tell me they are surprised I'm alive. I never had them arrested. And I kept going back. Because my self-esteem was so low. And I had so much fear in me. I didn't even fight back. Ain't no telling what would have happened if I fought back. But I'm pretty sure that, that individual sit and think now and be like, man, I know I took her through hell. Yeah, he did. He did. And I feel good that I'm standing here. Now, of course, my children, they don't like what they heard. They don't. I've even had my sons actually want to do some physical harm to individual. But that's not their job. It's not their job. I'm out of that relationship. I survived, I surpassed. How do I address it? Honestly, that individual left me. It took for that individual to leave me for me to wake up and realize, man. And that just was part of my weakness because I didn't realize that I deserved better. Yeah. This same individual have made many attempts to rekindle the relationship. Nah. I have forgiven him. And we've made peace with one another. But I hid it for so long. My brother, when he found out what happened, he did what most big brothers do. It was some physical confrontation. But it didn't stop anything because I steady was with them. I was just that much I thought in love, but I wasn't in love. Because love don't do that. How do we address physical and sexual abuse in families? We bring it to the front line and let it be known that it's happening. Whoever is your support system, whether it be your parents, whether it be your siblings, whether it be your BFF, whether it be your cousins, who is it that you go to and you confide in? That's where you start. Get it out. You do not deserve that. If you're in a physical abusive relationship and you think that that's love, somebody has told you wrong. That is not love. And if you think that you're in love, you're wrong. I'm willing to bet you it's lust. Sometimes they have a strong swing and a strong hang. It's the truth. And that's all we focus on. And we not looking at it like at the same time, we getting the hell beat out of us. And then an accident happened and we're like, oh, I'm sorry. You're not able to say you're sorry or come back and the person is gone, deceased, because of an accident? Because you mad, you in your feelings. Either you a drunken old soul and you just like to drink and then you want to fight, or you just mad, you just a mean ass. And you just constantly want to use somebody as a punching bag, whatever the case. It ain't no excuse. Once you get that, off your chest and you share that with your support system, whoever that is, the next thing will come to you and you'll get wise advice. You should not have to deal with that. If you do not have a support system, guess what? It is resources out here that have support systems for you. If you really feel like you're alone and you don't have nobody that you could talk to, call them 100-800 numbers, or them. They have support hotlines. Utilize them. If you're in one of them relationships, first, if you're in a physical relationship and you have children, imagine what that does to your children. I watch fighting with my parents, and then my children in turn watch fighting with me. It has to stop. When you get yourself in that position where you begin to think like, dang, now I'm seeing the same thing done in a generation after me, you got to make the initiative to say, hey, we got to change the direction of what we're doing here. And if what you've been doing ain't been working and you still been producing the same thing that's going on, maybe need to change stuff up. You think? And it's not your fault, but it is your responsibility to change it. Make that start. I've talked to my children. I've told stories. I've told my stories to family, friends, everyone. But it helps. And there's a lot of people that actually witness things. They didn't understand what was going on. What's wrong? Why is you doing this? I wasn't there yet. So I've been there too. If you at the point to where it's that, man, you're not ready to do this. You don't feel like this is the solution. I tell you, focus on you then more. Take that party out of the part. Focus on you. Aren't you sick of feeling? Aren't you exhausted of feeling weak, hurt, in pain, abused? When do you start healing that? And don't leave that to the responsibility of the individual that is doing the hurting to you. Come on now. We smarter than that. We're wiser than that. And maybe we need to be in, maybe we should be in a better environment that's going to feed that to us. If you're not around people that are feeding this to you, then those must not be your people, must not be the people for you. Because anybody that love you will feed that to you and let you know that that is what you need to do. Sexual abuse and physical abuse needs to be addressed. The way you address it is that you bring it to the front line. You talk to your support system. When you talk, if that's your family, your parents or whoever, you let them know. Explain the situation to them. Let them know your pain and your hurt. If you don't have that, you take it to one of the local resources that's out here. Don't harbor that pain and then let it explode, and ain't no telling what's going to be the results of that explosion. You owe that to yourself. You owe that to your children if you have children. You owe that to your family so that you don't keep on going through the same stuff within your family. We got to start talking about the conversations that mean something. I'm not saying that we don't, but I'm saying we need to do it on a regular. This is my whole aim. When I make these videos, I come from an experience. And this has to be what I was meant to do because I'm here to do it. Trust me, you haven't even heard an inch of my trials and tribulations. But I am a sexual abuse survivor, and I'm also a physical abuse survivor. And I feel good. And I share that story so that, man, my truth can be able to be a help to somebody else. Somebody can hear my video, hear my message through my video and say, man, she where I'm at. She been through what I was. Yes. And I'm not going to judge you, and I ask people not to judge me. I really don't care if they do, because this is my way of saying, hey, let me help. Now, hopefully this resonated with someone. This message was able to get to someone and they received it. They needed to hear it. Whatever the case is, that is always my aim here. I so appreciate you all tuning in. I appreciate you all looking at the video. Man, I would greatly appreciate a like and a subscribe. That would, man, make my day. I eventually want to get to the point where I do live and I actually do panels once I get a bigger audience, more subscribers. But at the meantime, I want to continue to just make these videos and post them up to let you all know that I'm actively, working on this as far as sharing my story and experiences to be able to help others. I do ask that you even share these videos if it's something that resonates with you, something that you feel that somebody else needs to see or hear. Man, let me know. If you have a question, if you have something that you would like to add in regards to this question that I have for this video, go ahead and drop it in the comments. Even if you just have a question for me, drop it in the comments. I want to be able to go back and look at everybody's comments or look at everybody's question and say, okay, answer it. Just kind of out of, respect to let y'all know that I appreciate you tuning in, appreciate you looking at the video, and appreciate you even dropping a comment or a question just to be able to say, man, let's have some engagement and some interaction. I want more of that. And I feel like if this is one of the avenues that I can be able to demonstrate that on, man, why not? Why not? Once again, I am a part of the Me Too movement. I'm not ashamed of it. Sexual abuse does not need to happen. You do not have to continue to suffer from that type of disrespect. You need to tell somebody, you need to talk to somebody, and you need to address it. They need to be dealt with. That individual needs to be brought to the front line so that there's other individuals that don't continuously get affected by it. If you're in a physical abusive relationship, you're dealing with some physical abuse from someone close, you don't have to go through that. You are nobody's punching bag. Nobody has a right to put their hands on you. Yes, you are the victim. You are not wrong. Tell somebody. Stop allowing other people to inflict pain on you. Share what that pain is and get you some support and get them dealt with. Thank you all. Enjoy the rest of your day. Until we meet again, talk to you soon.